I never know when I start shooting one of these videos how long they're going to last, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of my shortest ones in this series because this is such a simple concept. It's super important, but it's really simple. So, once we had the small talk, one of the questions that I get all the time from salespeople is, okay, I'm talking to them, I'm having small talk. How do we get into this conversation about cash discounting, right? Well, let me tell you that this is one reason why I believe so strongly that you do want to have marketing materials or some type of an email that you've sent or something that you've given to the merchant that they can review about the program. Now, of course, in reality, they probably haven't reviewed it at all, which is great. It works out fine for what we're talking about because that's why we're there, is to explain it. But we really want to get to a point here where the merchant is asking us questions, okay? Let me be really clear. If you want to close deals, then let the merchant drive the conversation with questions. You drive the questions that the merchant's going to ask, okay? So the perfect closing process looks like this. I say something that I know is going to get the merchant to ask a particular type of question. The merchant asks the question, I answer the question, and then say something that's going to get them to ask another question. They ask a question, I answer the question, and then I get them to ask another question. That is how a good closing process goes. The more time you have to spend talking where they didn't ask you to talk, then the worse you're doing in your sales process. So here's a simple one. How do we start the conversation? Like this. Now, I know I just sent you an email yesterday, but you probably didn't have a chance to look at that at all, but I wasn't sure how much that you even got to look at. So what questions do you have for me? And that's it. Now, that seems so simple. And many salespeople, it's funny. I mean, they literally just can't, they don't have the confidence or emotional fortitude to even do that because it's like this huge unknown. Well, I don't know what they're going to ask me. Doesn't matter. If they ask you a question, good, right? Now, most of the time at the beginning, they're going to ask a very high-level question. They're usually going to say, well, yeah, I really didn't get a chance to look at it. I was so busy yesterday. I mean, tell me about the program. What is it? Perfect. That's exactly what we want, right? Now we get into we talk about it. Now, what's interesting is there are those business owners where they read the entire email or they looked over the entire brochure that you sent. And they're like, I think I understood most of it, but here's my question. What happens when customers get upset about it? And now you realize, oh, wow, like they're very interested. They actually read the documentation and still are interested. So it kind of gives you a sense of where they're at before you start the conversation. So again, quickly, all you're going to say is something like this. So you're like, wow, that's so interesting learning about your business. And I just love talking to other business owners in the area. I think it's so great having those connections, whether we do business together or not. I just love having those connections. So, all right, let's shift gears a little bit here, Bob. So, I know I sent you the email yesterday and gave you some marketing materials, but I know how crazy it gets. So I don't know how much of that you've looked at yet. So what questions do you have for me about the program? And that's it. Just open it up to questions and let it go from there.